Hey, welcome to our first board game review, weirdly enough.
And probably one of our last.
Yeah, it's not really our shtick.
We can review minis.
Yeah, there's some miniatures in here.
There's a miniature Spectre octopus in here, that counts. No, this counts because when we were at Gen Con, I have shown in our interview video, we were very nice to score an interview with Chris Birch, the founder and CEO of Modiphius, and they gave us this game. So for full disclosure, we did receive this copy for free to do this. He didn't ask us to review it.
No, but
he was just like, hey, you like talking about this, do you want this? And we were like, yes, we're going to talk about this.
I think there was an implicit idea.
Maybe, I don't know, but I think it's different to, hey, I went to a Gen Con and got a free copy, and it's not like they mailed this to us and went, hey, influencer, would you like to? Yeah, no, they just were like,
no, but what the important thing is that we should all keep in mind is that we scooped the board game guys.
Oh, don't do that.
No, we didn't.
But it's important is we got a free copy of Spectre.
Yes, actually.
And we decided to play it. So I'm sure B-roll for that will be throughout this. If not, the full gameplay video where we play this is already also up, going up alongside this.
Yep.
But we wanted to talk about our feelings on it in a separate video so you didn't have to watch us play for 90 minutes to get to that.
Oh, 90 minutes.
It was about 90 minutes.
It was 90 minutes.
It was 130. It was 1 minute and 30 hours.
Oh, yeah, I guess that is.
So let me do
Felt like
introductions.
longer.
I always am Josh.
I continue to be CJ.
And I am joined, as I have been several times, by Mitchell, who's done the Age of Sigmar game reviews.
And
Discussions.
Yeah.
Mitchell, what's your relationship with James Bond again?
0.01.
You've seen one
I've seen one half of a single Bond movie.
of Goldfinger.
Goldfinger.
Which, yeah.
I mean, at least it was Goldfinger, right? Not one of the really bad ones.
And then for the first time on our channel, depending whether you watched this or the review first, or the gameplay first, is Sean, our local 3D printing guru and designer. If you saw our Kickstarter for the Lasercraft Workshop, that was his design.
Link down below.
Yeah, even though the Kickstarter's over now, right? But you can still
to
buy
our
that
website.
thing. Yeah, link to the website.
Link to the website.
And they do what they do.
Sean, you're a big as Bond fan as CJ and I, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Long time. So this was, we wanted to bring people on who were interested in the game. But we've also got Mitchell just to keep us honest.
Yeah.
I was reviewing it as a game and not a nostalgia trip.
So
this is a James Bond themed worker placement game.
yes,
I think that's the easiest and fastest way.
for 2 to 4 players.
Yeah.
The theme of the game is you play as the villains of Spectre.
Yeah.
The 5 options are Ernst Blofeld, Aristotle Christados from For Your Eyes Only. You played as Frau Kleb
Rosa Kleb!
from Russia with Love.
And also Kronstein.
Yes, his name's on the card, not on the card.
He's not,
just in the
it's a
background.
shame, really.
And then Sean played as Emil Largo from Thunderball.
Yes.
And then also as an option was Silva from Skyfall.
So as far as villains are concerned, you got some winners in there. And then you also got Silva.
Well, I mean, I thought Silva Skyfall was one of the good.
Well,
great
right,
ones.
yeah. I don't think he was a strong villain, though.
I liked him. I kind of liked what they did with him.
I don't, well, yeah, I guess.
We're not here to review
I like that I
Skyfall.
recognize the actor.
Yeah, there you go.
But I was kind of, that was, I guess, the first thing we talked about. I was kind of surprised by what is called to in this game and what is not.
Yeah, I was expecting Blofeld,
Goldfinger,
Drax.
maybe Hugo Drax from Moonraker. Maybe Sean Bean from Goldeneye.
Yeah, where's Trevelyan?
Sean Bean would have been funny.
Well, I mean,
No, it's just Sean Bean.
Sean Bean. But as I said, there's always room for expansion.
there is always room
Yeah.
for expansions. I would love to see villain expansions for that. That is
Great.
perfect for the kind of game.
Yeah.
You brought up in a review Scythe.
Yeah, it reminds me very much of Scythe. Now, I've only played Scythe one time.
And you can't talk about worker placement without the specter of Scythe be hanging over you. It's kind of almost the worker placement game right now.
That's the scythe of Damocles.
Yeah,
It's
it's-
ready to come down.
But anyway, continue.
But yeah, it's some of the stuff I like about Scythe is in this. It's got asymmetrical player powers, which are awesome.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, unlockable powers for each villain. You can screw your opponents.
Boy, can you!
Using Bond, and then you can kind of, it's, yeah. That was the end of my. That
Yeah,
was
no.
a sentence and it didn't sound like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the villain roster, for lack of a better term, is like it's ripe for expansions.
Yes.
It's always interesting dealing with this with what you can and can't get due to rights.
Yeah, you'd think that if you own the rights to the film, you own the rights to the stuff that's in the film.
I think Chris mentioned this during our interview. It's a lot more complicated than that. Navigating the rights is a minefield.
So are there Bond villains that are not in Spectre?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a Bond villain in every single Bond film,
I got you.
and there are 26 Bond films.
Okay.
Some of them
But-
are repeating Blofelds.
Oh, do you mean who are not
Blofeld's
in
repeating.
Spectre the organization?
Yeah. Spectre the in the world.
Most of them.
Most of them are.
Yeah.
So Spectre as a concept was introduced in the first movie by Dr. No, who is not a playable villain in this one. That one kind of makes sense. Like
Yeah.
we're not going to dwell on this, but that one you probably can't do because it was a white guy dressed up as an Asian guy in that movie because it was 1962.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great movie. That part's not great.
They need to come out with a
Moving on.
Dr. No YouTube video. And
Yeah.
just put,
This is a Dr. No special. What for? So I can be in a board game. I see.
I'll allow it.
Carry on.
But Spectre was introduced. He was a part of Spectre.
Yeah.
From Russia with Love is where we got Kleb from, and number one was never shown. It was just his hands petting a cat and his deep voice. 3 had Goldfinger,
Yeah.
who was one of the more iconic villains, but he was not part of Spectre.
No.
4 had Thunderball, where Largo is number 2.
Okay.
Spectre number 2, and Spectre was, and number 1 was once again petting his cat. And that was the one that showed us Spectre as this weird organization where everyone calls each other numbers. Because there was like the weird, you know the part in the Austin Powers movie where Will Ferrell goes through the bottom of the floor and gets set on fire in his chair?
Yes.
That part is in Thunderball.
Yeah.
Like that's what they're making fun of.
Got it.
Because a guy gets electrocuted in his chair.
So strangely, I have seen.
He's seen all the Austin
I've
Powers
seen all the
movies.
Austin Powers movies.
I mean, if you've seen the Austin Powers movies, you've seen most Bond movies. And then after that, from For Your Eyes Only, or sorry,
No.
You Only Live Twice, which is
Yeah.
the one where we see Blofeld, number 1.
The first Blofeld.
Can we not go through all 26 movies?
We're not going to, because what I'm then going to say is after that, there was some weird legal shenanigans where the name Spectre was owned by someone else who was not part of the Bond stuff until Sony bought everybody involved and made Casino Royale.
This didn't stop them from using Blofeld in On Her Majesty's Secret Service as played by Telly
They had
Savalas.
the lawsuit hadn't happened.
Yeah,
hadn't
that
resolved
hadn't
yet.
happened,
That happened
yeah.
after that. So for 20 years, sorry, 30 years?
30 some odd
There
years.
was no Spectre.
There was no Spectre. Spectre came back with Silva in Skyfall.
that makes sense.
And actually, no, that was retconned.
Yeah.
Spectre came back in
Spectre.
Spectre.
Oh.
The movie Spectre, which is the second to last Bond movie.
Yeah, which has Christoph Waltz as
Yeah.
Blofeld.
That's how Spectre came back. So no, most of the Bond villains are not in Spectre.
Technically.
Okay.
But anyway,
Yeah.
Matt might cut a lot of that because
maybe less ripe with expansion than I thought.
well, like Kristatos is in this, and he's not in Spectre.
No.
Fair. See things I don't know.
So like, and I don't think it matters that much.
Yeah.
No, you can easily introduce new villains.
Like, you could absolutely have Goldfinger be in this.
So
Now, maybe there's some weird, like we brought up Sean Bean. Sean Bean's still alive. Maybe they no longer have the rights to make things from his facial, his likeness.
It's true. Or he'll get royalties.
Yeah. Or, well, I mean, maybe they just don't have the contract, they'd have to pay him. And maybe poor, I mean, I'm sure Modiphius doesn't have that kind of cash.
Yeah.
Like, they're a game company, they're a big one, they're not that big.
Yeah.
GW barely has the cash to pay people for likenesses.
Yeah. Though, on the other hand,
They
you know,
paid Brian Blessed to read a book.
Brian Blessed.
And that's about it.
I was going to say though,
Sorry.
it's Sean Bean will do anything though. He'll do anything for a paycheck.
Maybe. Now he's been in Game of Thrones.
That's true.
Anyway.
Anyway,
Moving on to, so how do we like the theming? This is kind of leaving Mitchell out.
Yeah.
But did you feel that this felt like a Bond board game?
Yeah, especially the part where Bond comes in and screws up everything you're trying to do.
Sean, how about you? How did you feel about the Bondiness of this game?
Yeah.
yes, very, very Bond. Bond definitely wrecks everything when he shows up.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. And then each villain getting their own flavors of skills definitely fits right into that as well. Very nice.
There was like the submarine for me. And
Yep.
There was
Which-
I was
the
gonna say
disco-
the cloning technology, but that's not in the movies apparently.
No, but he does have doubles.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So I think that's what they were going
Yeah,
for.
yeah.
And you got your power is just called the
Bomb.
Yeah, Largo can drop the bomb and end the game early.
Yeah, and your special power is just called the Disco Valente, which
Yes.
is
A movie reference.
I have. It's the name of his yacht.
yeah.
It's
It just means flying saucer.
yeah, it's Latin for flying saucer, right?
It's Italian for flying saucer.
Okay.
Point is,
Yeah, it's a boat.
it's a boat.
But yeah, the flavor was great.
Yeah.
So let's get to how we enjoyed the gameplay.
Yeah.
So this is a worker placement game.
Yeah.
Which I often don't super love worker placement games.
Yeah, that's not my preferred style.
It's
of
basically
board game either,
Scythe, Fallout Shelter, but I will add this to the list. I enjoyed this because it's a worker placement game with an opportunity to set back other players and do shenanigans, whereas I often feel like some worker placement is just like trying to just out-resource manage.
Yeah. There's no less interaction.
Yeah,
Or,
worker placement can feel like it's a playing versus, like you're playing solitaire while everyone else is playing solitaire, and the player who wins solitaire first wins. This is not that. This is definitely a PvP game.
Wow, that sounds like literally the most boring game ever created.
Then you haven't played enough Euro games, because that's like half of them.
Yeah. Like if I want to interact with players, in a game that I'm playing, like we can just play Warhammer, or I can just get the knives out and we'll see what happens.
Well, I haven't made a board game for Knives Out yet.
coming.
Speaking of Bond,
Speaking of Daniel Craig.
yeah.
My fiance loves worker placement games. I like them, and I'm not terribly great at them because I don't think too far ahead.
And yet you won
Spoilers!
by a landslide.
Spoilers!
Mitchell is number one. Like, you left us in the dust.
Yeah, you
One
absolutely.
turn, I got like 5 points.
Yeah.
You absolutely dumpstered us in one turn. Now I don't know if that is that's an outlier or if that's how the game just ends up going sometimes. Like obviously we'd have to play this 7 or 8 more times to figure that out.
Yeah.
But as far as people who are familiar with worker placement games,
Yeah.
do you guys feel like that's what happens more often? Like one player just goes.
I feel like in most worker placement games, it's an inevitable snowball that you see coming and can't stop. And that didn't feel like this.
Okay, this was a bit of a surprise on
It
our
was
part.
how do we screw Mitchell out of it?
We were all neck and neck until Mitchell pulled that one magical turn. Before that, it was like everyone got a turn to be number one.
No.
Everyone got a turn to like be. We all jockeyed.
Yeah.
I did not.
You were not number
I
one.
was never number one.
Oh.
Well, you were playing number 2.
I was playing number 2.
Like, you were the only one besides me playing a named Spectre number. Well, no, Club is number.
Yeah. That was
11?
number 2
It was Club number 2.
for a while.
Well, then she died.
Well, yeah.
Spoiler.
do it.
Spoiler
Yeah,
for From Russia with Love.
Yeah, spoilers for a movie that's older than most of our viewership.
Spoiler for a movie that's older than almost all of our viewership. So
just
give
gonna
me
go
something
here
you
and
liked about
tarnish.
the gameplay. I'll go last.
Okay.
We'll start with Mitchell for reasons.
I liked. You're right. I liked the ability to screw each other in a worker placement game, which doesn't happen terribly often. Again, Scythe being one of the ones that does let you do it because you can move around the board.
And why I like Scythe too.
Yep. I love asymmetrical player powers, and being able to unlock stuff makes stuff really cool.
We're going to let Sean do one now because we don't want you to take all of them. Sean, give us one thing you liked
Oh,
about
it's
it.
one thing.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Give us number one thing you liked about that.
Number one thing.
I was going for the bad pun there.
Yeah, definitely the ability to screw each other in a worker placement by far.
Yeah,
Where you're not stuck on this one track and just trying to outpace everybody. There is the option to focus on back down.
Get it.
Get out of here, get out of here.
CJ, you got something?
Yeah, actually, I appreciate that it really feels like they put some thought into making this a themed game. Because, sometimes you see these board games that come out and it's just like, oh, great, Monopoly, James Bond edition sort of thing, where it's just like,
They put a skin on Sorry.
Theme on it and be done.
yeah, no, this feels like that it has both thought and like a genuine enjoyment of the franchise it's working off of.
And I think that's something that Chris mentioned in the interview
Yeah.
we did with him, where he had, they did not approach him about making a board game.
Yeah.
He pitched this for 5 years before they let him make a board game.
Yeah.
That really shows down to like the mission card naming,
Yeah, oh,
just
yeah.
the thorough theming of it all the way through.
Like even down to the resources you're gathering being gold and intel and blueprints, which are, it's nice and vague, but like,
man.
these are all things that are important.
I'm
in
already
Bond.
seeing it now.
Yeah.
Goldfinger will be able to use gold as any other resource.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, that's a good one. Let's go.
Yeah. That idea is free, Chris, if you
Yeah.
didn't steal it already. You're probably already working on that one.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, dang it, is. The thing I liked, and this is a weird one. So there are a bunch of mission cards, but you only draw 7 of them. One of them is always the same. It's always on Her Majesty's Secret Service. And the game ends after 7. The game is designed to be short,
Yes.
which stops you from playing the entire game in one playthrough.
Yeah, you don't burn through the entire.
None of us unlocked all of our
Right.
villain
You were
abilities.
close. You were one away.
I was close because I was
You
the
only
only
get 3.
person playing 3.
Right.
I almost got to my 4th.
You almost got to his 4th.
And yeah,
Somebody screwed
your
me.
4th would have, because it would have dropped a bomb and ended the game.
And in Miami while you were at it.
Yeah.
But it's also important to note that your powers were sequential.
Yes.
Your-
All of them.
Yes.
I
Your
had
3 powers were
3,
sequential.
yeah.
Mine were completely non-sequential. And then yours were
Non-sequential.
non-sequential.
But mine were a little more expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then your last one was 2 combined into 1.
Yes, it was 2, gave me 2 options in 1 power. It gave me a new thing I could place and do.
Yeah.
I like that because it makes me feel like there's probably different builds that you could do for villains.
Yeah.
I think the build I picked for Blofeld did actually not. I picked a non-synergistic one
Yeah.
Might
because
not
I
have
picked
gone.
I picked the ability to, when I place my villain, I also place my henchman. So I went first. But the idea of being able to place 2 agents at once in a single territory, and then is proactive. But killing off all other agents into territory is reactive. So that doesn't synergize with going first.
Right.
Yeah.
That synergizes more with letting someone else do something and then
Yeah.
hitting the 4th.
React with your second.
Yeah.
Negatives for the game, like, because we do things that we're not particularly hot on or that we're not great. Does anybody have one?
Some of the rules clarifications.
Yeah.
Yes, the rules clarifications.
Had a little problem on some of the rules.
There's a card that says you can't use enforcers. I didn't
We couldn't
What's-
find
what's an
enforcers
enforcer?
at all.
enforcers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the one that we did get, which was the no villains.
No villains. Does that
mean-
No villains allowed.
Yeah.
Do you mean
the
not
rest
for
of the
this? Not for this thing? What the
Yeah.
heck?
So yeah, that's one of the. So in the game there is the missions, and if you fail a mission, there's a negative. Usually it's like giving up resources or moving back on a track or whatever. But that one was no villains allowed, and that's all it said.
Yeah.
And there was no instructions.
Does that cripple you from the rest of the game?
That would be
I-
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It would be, but I could also see it being true because that does suddenly change the paradigm of the game.
Oh boy, does it.
But it's maybe not in a very positive way.
Yeah.
It's
Again,
suddenly
if you get it second,
Yeah.
on Her Majesty's Secret Service is always first.
Right.
You get it second and fail it.
that would be like, okay, you guys want to re-rack?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, that's a re-rack right
Yeah.
there.
So honestly, the thing that was tripping me up the whole game, and I know it was tripping you up too.
yeah.
There's 7 locations, and
8.
there's 7 locations.
There's 7 locations.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
because
6,
number
7.
2 was the first one, so that you could roll 2 dice.
That's staying in.
There's 7 locations, and on 3 of them, where you place your token was on the bottom, and on 4 it was on the top, and
Yeah.
it was
The rewards were on the
rewards
opposite
were on
side.
the opposite side. So it was tripping us up the whole game that it was like, I place my thing here, so I get this, and it's like, no, that's the other
that's
reward.
Yeah, you will see me do that
whole
at
time.
least 10 times. Like I think it's every turn. I think I literally never got it right.
Now, this may in fact be a design problem, or it may be a problem that we're all very, very stupid. So,
Always.
Not me.
Always
No.
yeah.
So
Sean,
that was 3?
Yeah, 3
Did
minor
anyone have
problems.
any-
Did anybody else have any other problems? I mean,
my-
you're about to say one. Yeah.
my main problem is that there aren't enough miniatures.
Well, I mean, yeah.
I want some like
I would love to paint a tiny Donald Pleasance.
well I know the worker placement tokens being little cubes is like it's like a industry standard.
I can't think
Give
of
me-
worker placement games that have minis except
Yeah, I
for.
don't want minis. I want something that's not a cube. I want like a little, I don't know, like a little token, like a little bond token or something. And I know this is weirdo coming in from
It wouldn't
left
be a
field.
bond token because
Or you know what I mean, like the
Bond
Yeah,
being
exactly.
represented by a poker chip did feel appropriate.
that felt appropriate, but like I don't know, like the pit, like a gun thing for your agents, right? Instead of just a cube. It just I understand that the cube is the industry standard.
Yeah, and that would. I mean, this is not an expensive game.
No. Yeah, I'm fine with it. It looks fine. It's just like if you're gonna go
there should be
go whole
there
hog.
should be a mini for the villains and the henchmen.
Yes.
yeah.
And I would like now. they could go the Scythe route, where they are matched to factions.
Yeah.
Like
Also
where,
very possible.
that would be a little more difficult, but like where Kleb is always green,
Yeah.
and it's Kleb and her henchman Morzany, and then you've got Goldfinger, or you've got Blofeld and
A cat.
That would be amazing.
That's the best.
just one of the
of the
mooks from the movie. None of them haven't. Christados has the dove.
Yeah.
Or has Loch.
Yeah.
Whatever his name was in that movie.
And then
All I remember is the guy with the hat.
Oddjob.
Oddjob.
I mean, yeah, that's a perfect
And
thing.
then what? Ironjaw?
Jaws.
Oh, just Jaws.
He's in 2 movies.
this is an Iron Jaws.
That's a Jaws.
Yeah, Jaws, played by Richard Kiel. He was in
Okay.
2 movies.
Oh, okay.
He's
Those
the
are the
only.
only 2 that I
He's
know.
the only henchman who recurs.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because people loved him.
Yeah.
I would love a Jaws mini.
After they threw him out of an airplane.
He landed on a circus tent. It was
He
fine.
landed on his jaw. Just ting, I'm fine.
Yeah, that would be nice, but that would be very Scythe.
Yes.
Like
very
maybe
sad.
2 Scythe.
Maybe 2 Scythe, yeah. Yeah, and I guess that's the other thing. Like, you could spend a lot of time getting real cute with it to the detriment of the game as a whole.
And like
So,
Modiphius is a company that makes miniatures games,
Yeah.
so I'm assuming they know exactly what the product cost of making miniatures is. I'm
They
assuming that
definitely-
they made a decision not to.
No, it's
Yeah.
going to be the expansion.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
You know
the
how
extra
some
box that you can just
Kickstarters
buy.
come with stupid expensive expansions that
Yeah.
have metal tokens or whatever?
Yeah.
I would play for an
there you
expansion that had a plastic little Blofeld.
That'd be great.
Would you get him in the wheelchair, or would you get him in the standing up?
Standing up, because that's not Blofeld.
Oh, right.
That's not Blofeld because they wanted to kill off Blofeld
That's
to,
right.
to wave the middle finger at Kevin McClory. There's
There's
I'll tell you
lore.
off
There is
camera.
deep
Yeah.
lore.
Poor Mitchell.
Every time the lore gets too much, I just stare at Cam.
Look, this is what happens when you play a Bond game with 3 Bond nerds.
Yeah.
So any other like problems like the slight? I'm 90% certain now that we know that there's a no villains card. That the no enforcers card was meant to say no henchmen.
Probably.
Oh, yeah.
It might be a translation error too. Maybe it's only our edition.
Maybe.
Oh, no.
Like maybe we got a card that's not.
we gotta.
Or maybe we are just dumb and enforcers wasn't there and we just missed it.
Yeah, it's very possible.
I didn't really have any other complaints.
No.
You guys took mine, which was like the
Yeah.
kind of the rules clarification. Could use some.
Like, just put on FAQ on Board Game Geek or something like
Yeah.
that, and that's fixed.
And again, the nice thing about Modiphius being a company that makes living games like that is that they're used to doing that. So that's something they could do.
20 to 45 minutes.
So the general rule is when you're learning a game, double it.
Yep.
Okay.
And we doubled it.
And we certainly did.
Yeah.
Doubled the maximum time.
Yeah.
And that was after playing it.
that was 4 players.
Yeah, that was 4 players. That's
Yeah.
fine.
I don't see how anybody could get through this game in 20 minutes.
With 2 players who really knew what they were doing.
Yeah, that's
You don't know board game players.
That's true. I don't really.
They can get weird about being good at board games, all right? It's like, imagine our minis game players, except just, yeah.
I don't want to.
So people can see the matrix of these things. I am not one of them. So, yeah,
Dude, I can see
it's just little
everything.
meeples. You take the red meeple, you So, closing thoughts. Would you recommend this game, CJ?
Under which circumstances? Just in general?
Just
or-
to, like, you're
board game?
You're
Okay.
playing a game and someone says, "Hey, you want to play a game?"
Yeah.
And it's not AOS night.
Okay.
It's just you're playing with a game with somebody.
Okay.
And do you want to play a game? Sure, I've got the SPECTRE board game.
Sure, why not? So, yeah, if it's board game, like, I do have some board game guys. But, yeah, I'd be like, yeah, hey, you want to play this themed game that's... I don't want to say it's a lesser version of, like, Scythe or anything, but, like, if they've got...
I think it's different enough.
Yeah,
It's different. It's
enough,
less
yeah.
complicated than
Yeah.
Scythe.
Less
Yeah.
complicated, probably shorter playtime.
Yeah, by a long shot.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we've got like an hour and change to kill. Like, hey,
Yeah.
let's bust this out. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. But yeah, I don't
See,
think that'd be a bad call.
I think being a person that's not a Bond fan, I don't think I could like go to another not Bond fan and go, "Hey, you want to play this game?"
Yeah.
You don't think
Because neither of us would get any of the references, rather than you guys quoting it the whole time.
It is an IP licensed game.
Yeah.
It is a licensed game.
If you have a night where you're just like, all right, we're gonna play one of these IP licensed games, this is a strong contender.
It's movie night. No,
is.
it's movie board game night.
It is.
If you were to retheme it, would it be playable?
I mean, I think it's playable. I don't know how you would retheme it exactly. Like that's part of the positive thing is that it plays so much into the James Bond that it would be hard to reskin this as anything else.
If this was
Other than Austin
if
Powers.
poor Chris if poor Chris Birch had never gotten his license and had never gotten his pitch off the ground
And this was just like
and was forced to make this a generic spy game that was like had cartoon, oh that's totally Bond.
yeah,
Would you play it?
yeah, yeah. I would.
It wouldn't be as good because like the Bond theming is a
Yeah.
big part of it.
Yeah.
And you would go, oh wow, was this meant to be a Bond game? Because
That's a really strong reference you got there.
yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. Why is this guy's name Flowbeld? I tried.
Scars on the other eye. No,
Yeah.
it's a cat with a scar.
There we go.
You know what? That's what it would be.
Actually, you know
it
what?
would be one of those games where it would be the cat, and then Bond is like
A Doberman or something like that.
Yeah.
he would be a
Bulldog. Yeah.
Why a bulldog?
English Bulldog.
English bulldog.
Well, you're going to make a French Bulldog.
I mean, either that or he could be James Pond.
Oh, gosh. There's another IP license you had to get, though.
But yeah, I would recommend it.
Like if you, I mean, I don't know
Gold
how much
flipper.
your fiance cares about James Bond.
I have honestly, I don't think she does.
Like if I brought this game over to your house and was like, "Hey, Brenda, do you want to play a game with us?"
I mean, she would say yes because she's a board game.
Because she likes worker placement games.
Yes, she loves worker placement games.
Sean, how about you?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Even without the theming, it is a solid enough complete game that
Yeah.
plays well.
Yeah, I agree. It is a lot to read through first time because it's worker placement, and both the positive and this isn't even a negative, it's just a casualty of it being so in-depth. Everything ties into everything else. There is almost no place or worker here to get a resource. Like, that's pretty common in resource games.
Well, you do have that, but you also have other stuff on
but there's
top of it.
always something else,
Yeah.
and there's
Yeah.
always something else that can affect that.
Yeah.
Yes, you place a resource in number 7 to get to Intel or whatever.
Yeah.
But you have to hold number 7 to get to Intel, and someone else can move things, and it has other effects.
Yeah. Move stuff around at the end of it.
And putting it in number 7 lets you put it in one of 3 other places that is not number 7.
Yeah.
So there's always more to it, but that also means it's complicated. We had to read through the entire book to understand it.
And we're still looking stuff up.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think if us 4 that have played this game already sat down to play it, we could probably do it in 45.
Yeah.
I bet you're right, yeah.
And you know what? I would do that. I would do that. Like if we had another night where we just, I'd probably bring booze this time, but we ordered pizza.
Not to work.
No, that's banned on the premises. But you know,
Yeah.
Tragic.
I know.
well, if
Yeah, I
it
want
was-
a full James Bond experience. I just want, like...
Yeah, everybody gets a martini.
everybody gets a vodka martini, shaken, not stirred,
I would stir mine just to
just to be
screw-
spiteful.
yeah.
just to be spiteful.
Well, you know that does happen in these. Cut there and just yeah.
Yeah.
No, my closing thoughts is I recommend it. Like, I would recommend this. I do think you have to kind of either enjoy Bond or just kind of get the references.
Yes.
Because if you don't, you're going to look at this and you're going to be confused.
Yeah.
Because the mechanics, like you said, are so tied closely. It's like
Like, I knew Blofeld, and then who was the one that we didn't play?
Silva.
Silva. I recognized those 2, but not the other 3.
Because
so
Silva
those
is from
didn't-
the most
those didn't
recent,
mean anything
second
to me.
most recent movie. Third most recent movie.
Third most recent.
Third most. Jeez Louise, they keep making them.
Wow, they just keep coming out with these things.
Weird, wouldn't you know
I
it?
recognized 2 of the 5 villains, so like it would be like the references wouldn't make sense.
And to be fair, 2 of those villains are deep cuts.
yeah.
Christados is from For Your Eyes Only, which is not a popular James Bond movie.
No.
It's the super grounded one after Moonraker.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my favorites. I think it's great. It's got the guy. You ever watch Fiddler on the Roof?
No.
If I was a rich man.
Oh, I know that.
Yabba dibby dibby. That guy plays a guy in that movie. Yeah, it's great.
Sure.
Yeah. And then Kleb is not the actual main villain of From Russia with Love.
No.
Okay.
I mean, she's in charge, but the actual like face villain is Red Grant.
Yeah.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
Or Blofeld, who's petting his
Who's,
cat.
who,
but
yeah.
he's already-
Face villain who has no face, yeah.
Yeah, so she's kind of just like a deep cut.
Yeah.
She's not on the posters, you get what I mean? So it's an interesting choice they went with those 2 and not like Drax.
But if you're going to go with Spectre villains, you better get Spectre villains.
But they did Christados, who is
Nah.
not a Spectre villain.
Well, he is now.
Like, he has absolutely nothing to do with Spectre.
They retcon every single villain to
Yeah.
be Spectre.
I mean, you could.
Yeah.
When
This
they
is
made-
all
yeah.
part of the extortion game.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, like you're not gonna. If you're a Bond fan, you're gonna pick this up and be very. You're going to be pleasantly surprised for one thing that it's a complicated game and not just a Monopoly reskin.
Yeah, this is absolutely not a cash-in.
If you're a board game fan, you're going to pick this up and be very pleasantly surprised that it's a licensed game that doesn't suck.
Yeah, this is actually quite good.
I have like 4 licensed games I played once. I'm like, wow, cool. Never doing that again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, right? If you are a Bond fan and a board game fan, well, guess what? You know what?
I think if you're...
You already have it.
Yeah, you own it already. You've been hungrily waiting for this thing to...
Well-
but like, yeah, if you're in this part of the circle,
Maybe
you're
you
in.
didn't, because there are a lot of Bond tie-ins
That's
that
true.
suck.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
true.
I played the Bond PC games in the 90s and the 2000s, and they weren't very good.
Woof.
There's been some, I mean, you know, the From Russia with Love video game. Did you ever play that?
No, was that one bad? I don't remember.
They didn't have the rights to Spectre, so they couldn't make a video game using the actual plot. And it wasn't very good.
Yeah, you're tapping your hands behind the board.
Yeah. So, anyway, so yeah, I think this is if you are a board and Bond game. If you are a board and Bond fan,
Yes.
which sounds like a legal action,
Yeah.
this is 100% a pickup.
Yeah.
If you're just a Bond fan, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, unless you just hate worker placement games.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a good way to find out whether or not
Yeah, yeah. If you don't know about worker placement games, start with this.
Yeah.
And if you're not a fan of either of those, I think the game still holds up. But
It's still like it's still good.
Yeah.
And it's the theming and flavor, like you said, even if it was just a spy game, not a Bond game, makes it good enough. Yeah. Especially
Sean.
for the price.
Yeah.
yes,
Sean, he who speaks least knows best. What have you carry on thoughts?
maybe he doesn't have carry-on thoughts.
Not too much. Solid game.
Yeah.
Even without the theming, it plays very well. Very happy now.
Okay, he's just like,
Sean was into it.
I'm glad. He's just like, I'm just happy to be
Sad
included.
someone Stop
Yeah.
me from dropping a bomb on
Yeah,
everybody.
Sean was gonna nuke Miami and end the game. Like, and we decided that
In Minecraft.
in board games.
Yeah, there you go.
Nowadays, saying in Minecraft is more likely to get you looked up by the FBI. So we have to really specify. Thanks for joining us for our first board game review. Not our last, probably, but we'll see what the future holds.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for joining me, guys. I had a lot of fun playing this
Yeah,
with
this
you.
is great.
Awesome. Thanks.
I realized that it has been probably a decade since I sat down and played a board game with people.
Really?
That was not a war game.
Oh,
Because on Miniatures Rundown, that's what we care about so much.
Fair
And,
enough.
It was refreshing to not have to paint the meeples.
And with that thought,
See you next time.
take care.
Goodbye, Mr. Bond.